Hello and welcome to the Hotkeys podcast, your shortcut to various opinions on all things pop culture. I'm your host for this week, David Parker. Joining me today is Landon Browning, Mick Parker, and Will Dobratz.
Heyo.
Hello.
This is the episode for the week of May the 6th, 2020. So what have you guys been up to the last couple weeks? We haven't done an episode for a while.
Yeah, we haven't. I've tried.
Landon's trying to kill the show. It's crazy.
No, I've been.
Wait a minute.
Dave up. I've been hitting Dave up. I've hit up Dave like several times. I'm like, hey man, let's record. And Dave either just flat out ignores me, or comes up with a dumb excuse like I'm tired. He's like,
Landon actually he's been trying to get an episode recorded for probably like a week now, and it just hasn't been working out.
Yeah, I mean, it could have, but
well, I'm in the future, and so it's a little bit harder sometimes. Like right now, we're recording right now, starting at midnight my time. So, to accommodate.
Whose fault's that? It's yours. It's yours.
I mean, yeah, I guess I did choose to move here, so I guess that is
my
fault.
Exactly. People make choices, Dave.
Mick didn't want to do the podcast tomorrow. Landon insisted we do it today. I mean, it's just like a bunch of divas. So
cut to Mick's expressionless face. He's just like.
Okay, well, yeah, but I've been a little busy lately.
Playing Divinity?
Distracted with some video games. So.
Oh boy,
you're playing, man.
What's
like?
new?
I was like messaging you last night, and like I could tell that you were still on. Like it was like late. Like it was just like on your Discord thing. It was like playing Divinity Original Sin. And I'm like, Dave will respond. And he didn't.
Well, okay, and I was telling you this earlier. So on Discord, which is this is the chat we use to communicate with all of our friends. If I am playing a game on my computer and I have Discord open on my computer, I don't get notifications on my phone. But if I'm in game, also I'm not checking Discord on my computer because I'm busy, saving the world.
That excuse gets 2 thumbs down from me.
Do you not have messages overlay the game, or do you have?
It does it with some games, but it doesn't do it with every game.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So like last night. Actually, it's really earlier than now. So I mean, we probably could have.
Yeah, it was. It was very early. I'll check the message. I'll check it.
It was like 11:30 my time or something that I saw the messages, or midnight. But it was Landon wanting to do the podcast.
I was still up at that point. I was still up. You could have hit me up. We could have, done it.
Done what?
Yeah, but we're doing it now. Recorded. We're doing it now, Landon.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just had to have you clarify.
No, I've been distracted lately. I've been playing a lot of Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition and Divinity Original Sin 2, the Enhanced Edition. I switch back and forth between both games, which is really weird.
Horrible. That sounds horrible.
I've never done it before, and actually it's not as weird as I thought it would be. The lore-wise, like, this isn't like a spoiler, but the games basically take place 1,000 years apart, so it's kind of just happens in the same universe, but there's not really really many of the same characters or anything like that. There's kind of a shared history of stuff that happened in the past. But Divinity, both games are turn-based, like party-based medieval fantasy games, basically like a video game version of D&D, basically.
Somehow worse.
No, it's
somehow more
Landon,
boring.
You need to stop. You tried it for like 5 minutes, and
slower.
you quit. You're like, you couldn't do it after 10 minutes.
It was so bad.
It's amazing. The games are really fun. I've really, really enjoyed playing them. You can play them by yourself, control up to 4 characters, or you can also play with up to 4 people, each controlling a character, and kind of getting to experience like a role-playing. Basically, like you're going through a really long kind of campaign, like a D&D campaign, where you each of your characters has their own stories, but you also kind of have this shared story that you're trying to experience together. That's more the second game. The first game is a little bit more different for story, but the second game I've enjoyed the story more, and some of the comedy I enjoy better from the first game. The writing is like really fun in both games, but Will and I, so we started a campaign actually.
Oh boy,
we were playing together with Ben, who's been on the show, and Oliver, who has been on the show once. So we started a campaign where we're doing all 4 of us together. But I think like I'm also playing my single player version of the game, and that I've played a lot more because it's a little bit easier to play by myself than try to like wrangle all 4 of us together to play. But I've been like addicted to playing those games for the past week or so. They're just too much fun.
What's your favorite part about them?
Well, I mean, probably the combat would be my most favorite part. I mean, there's so many varied classes you can be in, so many different abilities, and like all the placement of your characters is super important, but you get all these cool spells, and you can kind of, you're not stuck to like, okay, I only can have like a rogue character, and then I only can have like an elemental wizard. You can kind of change stuff and combine them in certain ways, and it's really fluid where you're not stuck where if you like, it's easy to respec your characters if you want to. So you can kind of do some experimentation to see what are fun characters to play. But the combat by far is most fun because you can use a lot of elements around you. So you can set part of the terrain on fire with like, you can put oil out there, then set that on fire. You can
Oh my god.
you can like can summon rain, and you can summon ice, and you can do all this stuff that like causes characters to slip or get wet. If you get wet, you're more susceptible to electricity damage. I mean, it's kind of like a like Pokemon in a sense, where you can use elements.
It's nothing like Pokemon. It's absolutely nothing like Pokemon.
Oh, have you played a lot of Pokemon games, Landon?
I played like 5 hours of a Pokemon game.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's totally enough. For Landon, that's a whole game length compared to how we spent on Divinity. Like how long we spent on Divinity. But I'm actually surprised you said combat, Dave, because it is really cool. Because like my character can like rise totems out of the ground from different elements, and each totem is like a different like has almost different stats, different affinities that do different types of damage.
Yeah, and they do different. Like if you have a water totem, it heals your people, but if you have like a fire totem, it attacks with fire at your enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is really cool, and the combat's really cool overall. But I think my favorite part of the game for me is just the different scenarios that you can stumble in, and like all the dialogue options you have, because of the 1 or 2 times that I've gotten to experience it without anything going wrong, it's really cool.
Now,
the problem is
when you say what can you clarify what you mean by like when something goes wrong? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yes. So the reason why things often go wrong in my playthrough, and the only playthrough I have right now is with me, Dave, Ben, and Oliver, is the main problem is Ben and Oliver have played the game before. And Ben knows all the secrets, and he knows all of the dialogue options, all the correct choices that you can do. So he just goes through optimally what the correct route, the correct, in air quotes,
like what gives you the most XP or something like that.
What gives you the most XP, what gives you the most, like, the most optimal, if you would say. And then Oliver just raises hell like a spawn of Satan everywhere. Like, he'll steal from random people. He'll provoke the entire town, causing us to reload twice. He'll just do random things and jump like the gun on a bunch of different things that cause pain for everybody else. So
we've had a couple.
Yeah, we've had a couple difficulties so far, but it really doesn't really leave a lot of room for me or Dave to enjoy the game by ourselves, and like this new feeling of awe and like, oh wow, what if we do this, what if we do that, that's already happening from Ben, or like, oh, what we want to do sometimes is interrupted by Oliver, and it has its own difficulties.
Yeah, I think if we all of us had enough self-restraint and only played like with the 4 of us, it would be a little bit better. But I think too many of us like the game too much that it's hard to like wait for when all 4 of us are available to play. Because I know Ben in particular has gotten pretty far in the game so far in his single player campaign. I'm a little bit farther now. I'm not sure what Oliver has. Oliver actually has the game on PC too. So I think he had actually played it back in like 2017 when the game first came out. So he had played the game quite a while ago. The PC version actually has this interesting thing that I was reading about today. It's called Game Master Mode, and it's basically like you can literally play kind of like D&D. You have one person that is the game master that can manipulate what's going on. You can like make your own stories. You can type for the
man.
you can type for the NPCs what they say. You can do role checks and stuff like that. Like
that sounds like Dave's like dream come true. Like to grab like 4 people.
I was reading it and I was like, man, if only I had 4 friends that like could actually do this with me. And then
I'd do it.
No, I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
You.
Hate it.
Okay, so
you start complaining 5 minutes in, and then rage quit 10 minutes in.
Okay, so now Will and I have played a little bit of this game. I don't think Will's played much of it lately because you've been playing some other games right now.
Yeah.
We haven't played our 4-player in a while, but Landon, you also purchased the game as well, right?
Yeah, I was peer pressured in. I shouldn't have. You guys are over leveled. I couldn't really.
No, you say over leveled because I know you're being funny because you're trying to reference Borderlands, which has nothing to do with this. But when we start our new game, we each had a new character. The problem is,
I thought that game was terrible. I thought it was so boring. I was overwhelmed. You guys were running around doing stuff. I didn't know how to like interact with stuff or like do anything. And when there's a bunch of other people running around making choices and stuff, I just kind of like lock up and just don't want to like participate.
Now, I advised you to play the tutorial first before
didn't have time.
playing.
I didn't have time. There's no time. You guys were ready to play the game, and I was like, all right, I guess we'll do it.
No, before we were starting, I said, no, Landon, do the tutorial first. We will wait. Why didn't you want to do that? Did you like not want to like the game? I think I
was getting hesitant. I was getting pretty hesitant before I started playing it. Like I bought it because I like wanted to be part of something, and then like the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, this isn't my type of game. And then I was like, and then Oliver was like freaking me out a little bit. And then, like I was like kicking chairs in the game because like I didn't know how to like attack things properly. So I'll probably never play it again. It's not my type of game.
What do you mean it's not your type of game? Like
I don't actually think it's not your type of game. I think it is actually your type of game. You just haven't given it a fair chance. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to be outright.
Maybe I'll try to play it single player sometime, but I got other games I need to play. So,
what game are you playing right now?
Single player wise, I got back into Persona 4 Golden on the Vita. Because I'm an OG Persona fan from back in the day.
Oh, shut up!
I got Will in on it. I got him in on it. And then he tried to take the throne from me as the biggest Persona fan in the podcast. So
Persona are like
Persona games.
Persona are like turn-based RPGs in a sense.
It's like Pokemon.
Yeah,
it's like Pokemon.
With
similar to
choices,
with dialogue choices and
enemy battles and
change party members.
Overarching story,
but it's
very
different. It's
very
so
similar
much
to Divinity original.
No, it's not. It's nothing like Divinity. It's nothing like Divinity. And generally speaking, the combat is like my least favorite part about Persona. Like the actual dungeons, I'm like, I'm just like trying to like get through them quickly, like because I don't really like that gameplay. Like the story and the like the social like gameplay is pretty fun. Like the time management and stuff.
Have you beaten Persona 4 yet? Then, since you've gone back to it after all these years.
After like 2 years of not playing it, I was like probably 3/4 of the way through the game. I played like 10 hours on like a couple Saturdays ago, and then I haven't really played much more since then. So
that's my story with Persona. Like I will play because I have Persona 5 because I bought it because Will never stopped talking about it. It's like in GTA, like when you buy one of the properties, so the person stops calling you on the cell phone.
Yeah.
Like that was like me with Persona 5. Like
now I'm thinking like that I'm
you
being
get it
compared to like Lester or like something like that.
That's exactly what I'm comparing you to, Will.
No. Please,
you're the guy. You're the guy that sells like the bunkers or sells the facilities or something. He's like
Agent 14 or whatever his name is. You got to get a bunker now.
But yeah,
like nope.
But like most times when I've played Persona 5, like I'll play it for like 10 hours and then I won't touch it for months or longer than months.
It's addicting to play. Like once you start playing, it's hard to stop.
I think that is like a turn-based game thing because the same thing happens to me with Civ. The same thing happens
Oh,
to me
Civ's
with
huge like
with
that. It's
Divinity,
like one more
too.
turn, baby, one more turn.
I don't know what it is with like if it has something to do with it that it's like it's
just
easier
the
to just
mindset
say
that you
one
want.
more. Where like in a
Yeah.
real time game, like there isn't that as much. Like you can still say like one more battle or something, but
For me and for Persona, it's like it's either I can get to one more safe room, or I can get to one more resting point, or I can go up one more floor, or I could do one more day of all.
Yeah, because the days
stuff.
are pretty short. Yeah, they're short. You're like, oh, it's like 5 minutes, like 6 minutes, like you're
I'll
like,
just
yeah,
do
I
another
can
day.
And then next thing you know, it's like 9:30 at night. You're like, I haven't eaten dinner yet. And you're like, well, I guess I'll make something. But you're like, but one more day.
Yeah,
Like,
one more day. Yeah.
now, Michael, you really don't care much for like turn-based games, right?
No.
What
Carol,
have you played?
right?
Have you like played many or?
No, not really. I think the only one I've played is like old Pokemon games.
Yeah, you played through Pokemon Red, right?
Yeah.
You liked that, didn't you? Like as a young child, like playing Pokemon and like getting your team together.
I think so.
So what happened?
he grew up. He grew up. He was like, this is dumb.
Well, what is it about it that like you don't like about turn-based games?
The combat.
But I mean, why? Like,
I just don't like the whole, like, you take a hit and then they take a hit and then it's like, it just is not fun to me.
is it just like it because it doesn't seem realistic, or?
Yeah.
I like them more. Like, I like a few turn-based games, but they have to be done just right. Like, the story has to be really engaging, and I like them more when it's not like Pokemon or like even Persona's combat. Like, you just walk around, you find an enemy, and then you're in a battle. Like, I'm more of a fan like of it where it's almost like a board game, like it's a grid-based turn-based game, like a Fire Emblem type, or like Final Fantasy Tactics, where it's like your level is this one board with different environmental stuff or like hill advantages, and then
Divinity
it's
is kind of like that too, Landon.
Divinity is
no.
exactly like that.
Exactly
I'm not even joking.
It's not.
You
It's
see
not.
all
It's
the
not a grid.
enemies.
No grid. No grid. No grid.
It literally is a grid, but you just
No.
don't see the grid lines.
No, I got to see the grid
No,
lines.
it's literally
I
a
got
grid
to
if
see.
you've ever played it.
I have to see the tiles. I have to see the
Oh,
tiles.
really?
So wait,
Why
when you play
that?
Civ, do you turn on like so it shows all the individual like squares or
no, I don't think so. I don't think on
hexagons?
that. I don't. That's not even. I don't even really. When I think of Civ, I don't even really think of turn-based. That like I just think of like it's a civilization type. You know, like it is turn-based, but like it's just a board game. So like that's the only reason that it's really turn-based.
I was actually thinking. So going back to what you were talking earlier about like the battle grid stuff, I was thinking about that earlier, trying to compare games like Pokemon, where like you don't have a position that matters as much. That changed a little bit in some of the later ones where there's like double and triple battles where you can have like 3 Pokemon fighting 3 Pokemon, and it matters if you're in the middle or on the sides. But like there is like a fun element about getting to have like, you know, hills and stuff like that, getting to move around, like being able to position and flank enemies. And I really enjoyed that in particular about Divinity, about being able to like kind of have more control of the just positioning of units and how, like where you are in the battlefield is being important. And that's one thing I don't experience as much in something like a real-time RPG, just because you don't have the time for it, or like you can't control multiple characters at once, where in something like this you can't, like in a Persona game or something like Divinity or other turn-based RP, like a lot of Final Fantasy games where you do that. And I don't know.
I like real-time RPGs. I like a lot more. Like Fallout, like the newer Fallout games, I like a lot more, or like the Outer Worlds or The Witcher. Like,
I always get frustrated with real-time RPG games because I feel like there's too much going on at once sometimes.
I think real-time, and this is what I've learned from this actually, because I'm growing up when I was younger, I had a problem with games where you actually had to control more than one character because I felt like it was too much work. Like I had issue with trying to like put myself in the mind of more than one character. And
Dave's grabbing his head and like
yeah,
it and screaming.
and like that's I think an issue I had with turn-based games growing up. Like I didn't like games like that. I didn't like Final Fantasy games. I didn't like other ones where they were. The exception was Pokemon, but I didn't really think of myself as like controlling all of these things. You kind of put yourself in the position of you're the one trainer that has all these Pokemon that you control. Where now, like, there's something I've actually really enjoyed about controlling multiple characters and getting to have like different skill sets and different abilities that you get to work with. When it comes to controlling one character, I then kind of understand, like, well, at that point, like, a real-time RPG makes a lot of sense. It's easy because you're only controlling one person. If I'm throwing a fireball or using, like chain lightning or something, that's fine because I'm just controlling one person. I can move around and do all that at the same time. I'm clicking a ton of buttons to use those abilities. Like, WoW, World of Warcraft. You're just controlling one person. It's real time. It's a lot of the abilities are very similar to what you use in games like this. But then as soon as you're doing like controlling more than one character, turn-based, like you can't do it any other way. And growing up, it wasn't something I liked. But as I've gotten older and using Divinity as an example, I've really, really enjoyed it. And I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I have been. It is one of those games like you start playing and you're like, this is too much fun. I can't stop. And I'm playing through both the first game and the second game
crazy
at the same time because I have the first game on the computer and I have the second game on PS4 so I could play with friends. But they've been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed the games. I think it is a lot of fun playing with other people, but I think there's more. I think there'd be more merit in it if all four people like hadn't experienced the game before, and that you kind of have to have like the right team in order to work together. Because I mean, you can have people that like Will was saying, where sometimes like it can be a little bit chaotic depending on who you're playing with. So, I've really enjoyed the game though. It's been a lot of fun. It's pretty much the only video game I've been playing the last week. So
yeah,
both of those games. Yeah.
Well, to a game that real gamers care about, The Last of Us Part 2 got a new release date of July 19th. June 19th.
Oh, because of
June 19th.
Because of the leak, right? They were forced to release it basically. Now.
The whole game got leaked.
Yeah, I'm mad. I haven't seen any spoilers, but I'm mad. Like, I hope they find the guy. I came across one in a. I hope they do terrible things to him.
Yeah,
or her. I don't know who.
See, it's dangerous out there on the internet in comment sections.
You got spoiled. You got spoiled.
I got some of it. Yeah.
Don't tell me. If you tell me, I'll never talk to you.
No, I'm not telling you. But yesterday I was scrolling through a post on the new Xenoblade Chronicles game that's coming out in like May 29th, which is a new Nintendo game.
Yeah, your mistake, man. Your
mistake. I was like, I was just gonna scroll in the comments, and there was just this random out of nowhere. It was like,
yeah, there's terrorists out there, man. Like,
I looked away quickly, so I didn't get like it's like one of those spoilers where you don't understand anything about it, but like that something like happens. Mm-hmm. It's frustrating, but it is what it is.
I've basically like stopped, like I've unfollowed like different pages on different like on YouTube or Facebook, like, and I'm like not looking in any comments sections or anything. So I'm like, I'm not having this spoiled.
So was it an employee of the company?
They said it's not. They said it's not anybody associated with Sony or Naughty Dog, which seems weird. Like, the person I'm pretty sure claimed to be associated with Naughty Dog, but I'm not. I haven't dug into the story too much because I don't want to
because you don't
stumble across something
about
like
the leak.
I heard it was like a disgruntled employee at first, but then like Sony released a statement saying that it wasn't.
There's a homeless man in the back of the building that found some hard drive and
pocket it. I wonder who could possibly be that, because nobody should have outside of Sony or Naughty Dog a developmental build of the game. That's crazy.
Yeah, so either I guess it could have been hacked, or could an employee have like leaked it to a journalist who then leaked it to the. I can't imagine any like legitimate games journalist leaking that. You know what I mean? Because that's just too like you're done.
Legitimate games journalist.
Oh, okay, yeah, good point. I mean, there might be a couple, maybe, I don't know. Like, games journalism is pretty terrible.
I don't know why I'm
so-
throwing shade at them. I mean, like,
No, they are pretty bad. They are pretty terrible. But I don't think even one of them would risk, because I mean, if you get found out for that, you're done. Like, your whole entire career's over. Same with the guy. If the guy did work at Naughty Dog and leaked that, then
yeah,
he's
then
done. He's done. His career's over. You're not getting a job anywhere else.
Yeah, you're not gonna get hired at
anywhere. Yeah, and then you're probably gonna get
developer
sued.
or anything
You're gonna
like
get
that.
sued into oblivion. Like, which would be funny if Naughty Dog just sued him for like everything. Like,
And I think that this is, I don't think we've touched on this, but I think this is especially bad because it's not that like the story leaked and people are happy about it because of what they've seen in the story. People are very upset with how the story has gone so far, with how they with the leaks, and which are confirmed to be true. So people are upset about where the direction the game went. People are upset about
Man,
what
how do you know
actually
all this, Will?
happens.
What are you doing looking into this?
Because I wanted to look into the reactions and not the spoilers.
But
So-
why?
But why? Because
Yeah,
I was
why?
curious as to when I first stumbled across the story, I was curious as to what the general reaction of the leaks
Nah,
were.
that's crazy. I would.
my
why?
thing. Here's the deal. There's people that are like YouTubers and stuff that are like really helping like the person that leaked it. Like they're making like videos that have thumbnails and like the images like show like, oh, Last of Us 2 leak. It's terrible. Like, and that's like the thumbnail of the video. So like you can't
It's just clickbait.
Yeah, but like they're playing it like it's like you're being a total, like you're playing into the like if you really like were against it, like you shouldn't be like sharing or like making like content about it really. Like
Mhm.
or at least talking about the spoilers. Like
It's kind of eat or be eaten, right? So if another YouTube channel posts that same thing, they're gonna miss out on clicks. Like if you think of it as a business, like it's unfortunate, but it makes sense as to why they jump on that train.
yeah.
Like
I just don't I mean you're trashing on something that hasn't even came out yet though. Like
yeah, like I'll say the same thing about what I said about Final Fantasy. It's like back when Final Fantasy leaks came out, I didn't look at it, but somebody posted on Reddit about how upset they were and that this new remake that's coming out is going to be way better than the Final Fantasy remake. And I said, you haven't played either, play both and then decide for yourself. Like and ultimately that's what you have to do here is you have to play it yourself. It's why it's going to probably be a day one purchase for me is I'm going to buy Last of Us Part 2. I'm going to play it and I'm going to decide for myself whether the story is trash like I predicted it would be or not.
Oh, okay, all right. I think it's going to be good. Naughty Dog hasn't made a bad game in forever. I feel like I'm going to and I'm not going to cancel my pre-order. Like that's like a bunch of people canceling their pre-orders. It's like I was going to buy the game and I'll let the merit of the game, validate whether I purchased it. Like not be like, oh, I'm canceling because of the leak. It's like that seems not very fair for the developer.
And you can have a lot of fun with a game that has a bad story. I mean, like Kingdom Hearts 3.
And also
all right.
major plot points getting leaked. Like it's a game for the most part, like a game story. Like the first Last of Us game has a pretty basic plot. That's not anything extraordinary. It's the execution of it that makes it really good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, just reading the plot points of this game, like if you did, it's like, oh, that might not sound great, but if you play it, it's a 20 plus hour game from what the team has said is their biggest game yet. Like I'm pretty confident it's going to be good. So.
I mean, they have a good track record for pretty exceptional games. So, I mean,
I'm just saying they're flying too close to the sun. All right.
Well, it's also the case of, it had incredible hype behind it. You know what I mean? Like going into it. And the first Last of Us is regarded as a masterpiece. So it's like, and the internet's going to try to, you know what I mean? Like the internet can never be happy, the dumb fanboys and stuff. Like, people were already gunning for the game before it came, like the leak happened. People were gunning at it. So
here's the thing though, is I think to be a different part of that argument, it's way easier if anybody has played Uncharted, it's way easier to write a sequel to Uncharted. They've had 3 sequels to Uncharted. 4, I think, technically if you count the spin-off. But
Also, the Vita game. There's a Vita one.
That doesn't exist. Be quiet.
It does. That's canon. That's canon.
Golden Temple or whatever.
Golden Abyss. Golden Abyss.
Golden Abyss.
I didn't even know that existed until a couple weeks ago. But it's way easier to write a sequel to Uncharted than it is to The Last of Us.
Oh, yeah.
And I think anybody that's played both games would agree on that. Uncharted is really lighthearted. You can't really mess up with where you take the characters.
I mean, you could, but
you could, but it's way harder. So
yeah,
The Last of Us, I can imagine way more scenarios because of how much much more emotionally deep it is.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the first game ends pretty perfectly, in my opinion. Like, I was like, I'm excited for this game, but like, I wouldn't have been mad. You know, it wasn't like I'm like, oh, they better make a second Last of Us. Like, it would have been fine on its own. So
I think that The Last of Us should have been a standalone game. That's just my opinion. But I like, if you want a sequel, I understand, like, sequels. I want a sequel to a lot of different games that are out there that I'll probably never get it. So
should I play The Last of Us game at some point?
You should, dude. Come on, please play it. It's probably a top 5 game for me that I've ever played. Like,
yeah, it's really, the first one is really, really well done. And the best part about it is it really focuses on the two central characters, and that's its strength, is the two central characters, and it knows it. So it probably is one of my favorite PS4 games, easily one of my top PS4 games. So David, I'd play it if I were you. Same goes with Michael.
Yeah, Mick, have you played it or started it or something?
The Last of Us?
Yeah.
No, I haven't played it. I played like maybe 10 minutes of it, and then I stopped.
That's surprising with how much you love the Uncharted series.
They're so different, though. They're different.
They almost, like, gameplay wise, they're completely different. Like, the flow of it. Like, I mean, they're both, you know, third person over the shoulder, or actually this is more over the shoulder than Uncharted, but like, you play, there's way less verticality to The Last of Us, and the tone of the story is completely different too.
The Last of Us is really depressing. Uncharted is really fun. I said it.
It is a really my favorite part of The Last. I played it all the way through twice. I played it probably 4 or 5 years ago when it first came to PS4, and then I played it just about a month ago. And what I liked about it so much was that the story kind of meant two different things to me at the two different points in time that I played it. Like, it means a lot more playing it the second time through, being a little bit older. Like, it had a way bigger impact on me, I feel like, which was interesting. I haven't played too many like super serious games the second time through, so
I'll get to it at some point. You know, once I beat all these
dude,
other
stop
RPGs.
stop playing your dumb nerd games and play a big boy game for once. So
dumb nerd games. Wow.
Yeah,
I think you're dumb for saying there's dumb games out there.
But I'm not a dummy dumb nerd.
Landon, if you had played that game single player without it being tainted by your poor experience,
we'll never know.
I think you really would have.
We'll never know.
This game.
We'll never know. So
I think the problem here is that Landon relishes in the irritation that
of course he
drives Dave and I when we try to get him to play it by himself, and he's like, "We'll never know." So that's the real problem. Is Landon's feasting on our
yeah. I mean, it reminds me of Jonah not wanting to like Parasite. You know,
I'll play right now. I'll play. Don't compare me to Jonah, please.
I made this comparison before, but is Landon the Jonah of video games? Like,
no, I'm not. I'm not.
Might be. I don't know.
No, stop.
Landon likes to not like things with very little like effort going into trying to give it a fair shake.
Name an example. Name an example besides Divinity.
Oh, Payday 2.
Dude, no, that was another one that broke. Payday 2 broke bad. That broke bad. That broke bad very quickly. I'm sorry, but it broke bad. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, what's the full name of the Ark game? Ark
Survival Evolved.
Yeah,
that was really fun for like 2 days. And then the same thing that Payday
Borderlands 2, like
dude,
Borderlands 3.
Dude, I've always been down to play Borderlands 3. Hit me up any day of the week. I'm down.
Landon does this thing where he's an awful person to play games with cooperatively because he won't do it.
I don't really like playing co-op.
He'll
games.
get on board, like he'll get excited and hyped up about
Oh yeah.
and
then
like
as soon as it
and then
starts,
he'll
I'm
make
like,
you excited about it, and he'll make you look forward to it and like want to play the game with him.
Even though you know what's
and then
gonna
he
happen.
falls
Even though
off.
you know what's
He
gonna
falls off,
happen.
and then you never get back to it. Like,
dude, I'd be down to go back to Borderlands 3. Let's do it. How about this weekend, Saturday?
I have
What's up
installed
with the
right
boys?
now. You know, I'll put away that dummy dumb RPG game, and I'll fire up. Yeah, because you, Mick, and me, we have our.
Yeah, we have a game. We have our playthrough this Saturday, 9
Yeah.
a.m. Let's go. Let's get her
Mick,
done.
you down?
We'll see.
Wait, what? what are you playing lately, Mick? What are you playing lately? If it's not a dummy dumb RPG,
Call of Duty, I guess.
Yeah, a real man's game.
just
real man's game
more
right
Modern
there.
Warfare. Are you
I'm
playing
muting
like?
Landon.
Are you playing like more multiplayer or Warzone or what?
Just multiplayer.
What game modes do you like?
I like Domination.
Domination. Which is that the one where you capture the flags or no?
Just hold like A, B, and C points on the map.
I like
I'd say that's the
Domination.
best mode in Call of Duty. That's just my.
I mean,
opinion,
second
but-
to Search and Destroy, of course.
And
Yeah, sure, it's always fun.
headquarters.
Dude, I love Headquarters. Don't give
Dude,
it crap.
what?
It's so
Are
much
you
fun.
really? No, headquarters
Yeah.
sucks, man. Headquarters is terrible.
It's fun. It's like Hardpoint, but then you have like it's a limited time you
I
can
think
have the
we're just
Hardpoint.
bad at the game that like either we
No,
couldn't
no.
figure out how to get points or we were just so bad that we couldn't
No,
get
it's
points.
dumb. It's a dummy dumb nerd game mode.
Yeah,
And
it's a mode where you have to like capture something and then hold it, but we could either never capture it or like we were losing like 200 points, which is like how much you win by to 0. Like that's how bad we were.
Yeah.
How are you? When did you guys play this? Like,
It was a couple weeks
We
ago.
only played it like once.
We
It's
played-
like,
you
this
you
is
guys
enough.
give it another try.
It was more than
it's
once,
almost
but-
like when you like. It's almost like you had somebody with you that gives one thing a try and like doesn't even give another chance at it.
Oh, good.
I wonder if that sounds familiar.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So this is gonna be more of a video game focused episode. So, but we're running out of time, so we're gonna
No,
have
we
to close
can
up.
keep
for,
it going.
we're
No,
gonna have to
keep
close up
another
for
one.
tonight,
Another one.
but-
Another one.
No, I gotta go to bed. But anyway, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Castbox, YouTube, and other podcasting platforms. Visit our website at www.hotkeyspodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter
Check out my
at
Instagram.
Hotkey's Podcast, and join our
Landon
Facebook group at
_Browning. Landon _Browning.
facebook.com/HKHotkeys. Please like and review us, subscribe to your show on whichever platforms you use. Finally, you can contact us at email at host@hotkeyspodcast.com, and then remember to unfollow Landon on all his
No.
platforms.
No, please.
Well, thank you
Please.
for listening. Sorry to cut off so soon.
No.
but-
Another one.
Goodbye.
We'll talk to you later.
Another one. More. Another
Bye.
45.